welcome to episode 77 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please make sure you subscribe on the right side of the screen and then hit that notification bell so you know when new content will arise. You can find me on Twitter, as you can see on the name tag, at HKravitz. Or if you'd like to email me for contact purposes, you can see on the scroll on the bottom of the screen, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Hope you had a good day today at Saratoga. They got rained off the turf, unfortunately. I had 5 out of 6 out of the pick 6. I was a little disappointed. Had 5 out of 6 a bunch of times. Lost a little money today. Had the wrong 2 horses in the turf stake. The 7 actually for Tom Amos had a price, ran well for third. I should have gone with one of the Wesley Wards. I did not. I went with Cassie instead and lost the pick 6 right there. Interestingly enough, I had 2 singles, and both my singles actually came through. So when I hit both my singles and still lose horizontal like a pick 6, it's a little disappointing. It wasn't life-changing. I paid $2,200 or so, but would have loved to have that for sure. But I got some consolations, 5 out of 6. So tonight we are going to talk about the pick 5 tomorrow at Saratoga. Before we do that, very quickly, I'm going to be, of course, we're live now. The next live broadcast, we are off tomorrow, but Friday. Please mark your calendars down. Actually, that time is incorrect. You can see at the bottom of the screen. We're going live Friday, 2:15 is the time. Again, 2:15 Eastern Time, Friday will be our weekend preview feature of the late. Actually, it's going to cover 6 races because Del Mar on Saturday. Not only do they have some great stakes in the Pacific Classic, unless something crazy happens tomorrow there, or excuse me, on Friday, there is a mandatory pick 6 payout with their bet. So we'll be covering the pick 6, one extra race on Friday. Again, Michelle Yu, she's an awesome guest. Can't wait to have her. And again, it's going to be in the afternoon. It's 2:15 Eastern Standard Time on Friday. We're going to discuss the pick 6 with Michelle Yu for Del Mar on Saturday, Pacific Classic Day. It's going to be a great day there. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump right in. We're going to be pretty quick tonight. Now, tomorrow with the weather at Saratoga, they got lucky today with respect that the main track didn't end up being too sloppy. It was wet and then it was drying out. But the remnants of that tropical storm that hit Florida is definitely coming to Saratoga tonight and tomorrow. They have flash flood watches tomorrow. They're not going to be on the turf tomorrow. So everything you see today will be expected for dirt. Handicapping, of course, it's a guess to who's going to be on, who's going to be off. If it's because it's going to be off the turf, it's going to be tough to say who's going to be in the race and out of the race. But I made some pretty reasonable guesses, and I think we can still have a handicapping discussion. And I have a very cheap ticket tonight, really cheap. I just don't think you have to go very deep tomorrow in your pick 5. So we'll have to see how the track conditions is, and we'll have to see about changes and whatnot. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Again, tonight's going to be pretty quick as I go ahead and add the past performances. And you see right off the bat my picks. We're going to start this in race 6. Race 6 is at the beginning of the pick 5 tomorrow at Saratoga, about 3:55 Eastern Standard Time. It's for maidens, state-breds, 3-year-olds, and up. It's basically 2-horse race, as you can see, in my opinion. The number 2, Gold Panda, was in a very, very difficult maiden race against Water's Edge and King Angelo. It was probably the best maiden New York bred race of the year, actually. This horse ran very well. Charlie Baker is an excellent trainer. He won today for me on the 2. I believe it was Musical America. Gold Panda, I think, can be very tough. Ran a nice 78 buyer last time, which 9 times out of 10 in a New York bred race, that'll be good enough to win first time out. But he does have a strong opponent to deal with. And interestingly enough, this is a Bob Baffert horse, a New York bred named Fenway, who's been racing out at Santa Anita this past spring. Frankly, not that impressive. Now, he was facing very good horses. The Great One, Hosier, Law Professor, Bezos, Harvard Memories. I mean, he was facing some very good horses, future stake horses, but he wasn't really running that well. Cuts back in distance, put the blinkers on. This cost 650,000. I would not be surprised if Fenway is favored, but I'll tell you what, I like Gold Panda more. That's why I have him as an A, and I have Fenway as a B. V Pattern also comes out of the three horse, comes out of a strong maiden race, but that was last year. Just in case this horse is ready this year, and maybe these two will hook up. V Pattern I would use very defensively, but this race is basically all about Gold Panda and Fenway. There's no one else that I would even consider in this race at all. Let's go ahead on to race 7. Race 7. Now, again, there are 3 races scheduled for turf. I'm assuming all these are coming off the turf. So my guess is all these are going to be on the dirt, and that's what I'm handicapping for, which means realistically the 1 is out, the 3 is going to be out. I would think the 4 would also be out. The 5 will probably be in. Let's just go to my top choices. The 7, Clayton the Lionheart, 9-5 morning line for Phil Bauer, can handle this distance, just 1 mile and a quarter, would be an A for me, although 3 for 22. The horse I like the most actually would be the 10, Thomas Shelby for Diodoro. Distance is a bit of a question. He did win going 1.1 miles. This is appreciably longer. I'm not sure exactly what it would be if it's on dirt. So I have slight concerns about the longer distance. But Thomas Shelby is absolutely red hot right now in raging form and also likes the mud. Something that I like quite a bit in here. I'd also use the 5, Dynadrive, who 2 back on the slop ran 80 buyer, is better on turf, but I think if they keep Dynadrive in is interesting. And I'd also use the 11, Backside of the Moon. Now, Backside of the Moon is only a B as in boy. For me, this horse is 9 years old and just lost by 51 lengths last time. He could absolutely win. At his best, he destroys this field. I have no idea what kind of form he's in or if he's ready for Pat Reynolds. It's off the. This is a trainer change. Has been off for a few months here. Is a 9-year-old. So this is an all or nothing type for me. I don't trust this horse at all. That's why I have him as a B instead of an A. And you could also throw the 2 in there. Pretty good year. Who, when you look at his back numbers, can absolutely run on dirt. Might be a bit cheaper for Kelly Rubley and Santana, but could win. Of course, we don't know what the field's going to be. A lot of question marks, but I like 7-10 the most in that race. Jay is here tonight. Jay, thanks for joining the show as usual. Appreciate your support. Fenway can win, but I agree. Fenway's going to be overbet. Of course he can win. But the Gold Panda is coming out a very, very difficult race. I mean, that was a serious maiden race, and he ran perfectly fine first time out. So I actually like Gold Panda there, as we already discussed. Let's go on to race 8. You can see I'm very skinny in most of these races, partially because I'm not sure who's going to be in the race, but also I really don't think you have to go very deep in a lot of these races. This is scheduled for the turf, 1.16 50K. For 3 old fillies. I'm sure it's not going to be on turf. I'd be shocked. There's only one horse that I want. I do want to show. Actually, no, this is not the replay I want to show. I was wrong. Battle Bling, the 6 for Danny Gardner, my top choice. Very good dirt numbers. Can get the distance. Raced well at Oaklawn, and when that was a very tough meet there. Goes turf to dirt for Gaff Leone. An excellent work there. 2 out of 59, 47 and 1 breeze. I like Battle Bling quite a bit. I'd also use Suspended Campaign, who has decent back numbers. Will have to come from behind, but has Jose Ortiz, and I'm assuming this horse will be in his run on wet tracks before. And then I'd also throw in the 7 as an extreme backup, Vegas Weekend. I'm not a huge fan of horses coming in from Pimlico and Indiana Grand, but she's in good form. I could move her up to a B, actually. We'll just see how the ticket plays out. Vegas weekend also with a shot in this race. Again, I'm assuming it's going to be off the turf, which is why you see the selections that you see. Let's go ahead to the fourth leg. Again, I'm going very skinny. Not because I didn't do my homework, not because I have no opinions. I think if it's on dirt, there's going to be a bunch of scratches, and I don't think you're going to have to go very deep here. Uh, I want to make a very strong opinion here and be very clear. This is a stake race. Restricted fillies and mares state breds, the Union Avenue, 100,000. They're going 6.5. Now, Sadie Lady is 2 to 5 morning line. I've seen, I'd say, the last 7 or 8 races that Sadie Lady has run. She's a deserving favorite. I understand why David Aragona, who creates the morning line, who's one of the best in the country, has this horse at 2 to 5 because there's not a ton of early speed in here. But let me just say something about Sadie Lady and the inside post. In my experiences, I'm going to put myself back on full screen because I want to be very clear. And again, it looks like it's a little blurry. I apologize. It's a little bit blurry. I want to be very clear. I've seen many upsets at Saratoga. We've all seen that. It's the graveyard of favorites, right? I've especially seen upsets in small fields with rail horses. Now, Sadie Lady will probably break well, go to the lead, and will most likely wire the field. I'm not saying anything that no one doesn't know. But let me just say this. If Sadie Lady doesn't quite break perfectly, or if someone puts pressure on her, I do not, in any way, shape, or form, think Sadie Lady is a lead pipe cinch tomorrow. This race is 6.5. I don't think she wants any further than 6, really. She can obviously win because of her class and her early speed, but if someone decides to be aggressive and go after Sadie Lady, she can be beat tomorrow. Sadie Lady does not have to win tomorrow. If she doesn't win, you heard it here first. Even if she breaks on top, this is a hard horse to trust for me. Again, she has to break well. Maybe no one's going to go after her, and maybe everyone's just going to hope they get second. That would surprise me. I would think someone will go after this horse. And again, I do not think this horse wants much longer than 6. I've seen her run a lot. She gives it up a lot at the end. Even when she wins, she's really slowing down. So I have Sadie Lady, of course, as my only A because she's very obvious. But I am very, very interested in the 5 in this race. And the 5 horse, who's 4-1 morning line, Awesome Debate for Bruce Brown. Now, if you take a look at her back numbers, she has a lot of speed, and she's run, at least the Buyers, just as fast as Sadie Lady. In the same class level, no, but the numbers are just as fast. She's 11 out of 15 in the money. She can handle wet dirt. She won nicely 2 back. Here's what I really like. I actually love that last line. Why do I love the last line when she finished 5th by 7? Because that's going to, I think, take some people off this horse. She ran only 9 days ago. She was 65 cents to the dollar. She broke in the air. She didn't break it all from the rail, stumbled. It was a complete disaster. And you can just pretty much toss that race out completely. Bruce Brown is putting her back in 9 days later. He knows that took nothing out of the horse and that she can compete here. I think Austin Vate's going to break well this time, sit right outside of Sadie Lady, if not pressure her. And I think it's going to be a horse race. I think Awesome Debate can absolutely win this race if things fall her way tomorrow. Obviously, Sadie Lady is the big favorite. Irish Constitution could bit, is fast, could put pressure on Sadie Lady. A lot of honey. If Franco decides to get aggressive, can show some speed early. Went 45, was up fairly close to a 45 and 1/2 last time. So again, it wouldn't shock me if Hannah Dances, shows up at 20-1 and runs a big race and gets in the money somewhere. So there are other alternatives other than Sadie Levy. Of course, she can win the race. She probably will win the race, but I'm not convinced. I think you could possibly beat Sadie Lady tomorrow. Let's go to the last leg of this pick 5 sequence. I have 2 horses in the last leg, and I want to show a replay. I've not been showing as many replays lately. It's scheduled for the turf. I doubt it's going to be on the turf. I want you to have to watch the replay of the July 25th race. Now there are a few horses coming out of this race. La Victoria, Pop the Bubbly, and Tapple Cider. Let's go back and see. Tomorrow, this is going to be the 5, the 6, and the 11. So again, the 5, 6, and 11 are all coming back out of this race into tomorrow. And there's some things to watch here. Watch the 5, 7, and 10. Watch again the 5, 7, and 10 in this race, especially in my mind, the 5 and the 10. What you're going to see is the 7, Pop the Bubbly, gets an easy lead. But what you're also going to see is the 5 had all sorts of trouble, and the 10 was very wide. You see the 7 go to the lead. The 5 is uncomfortable, like right there, the 5 got steadied and shuffled back, and the 10 is in the 5 path. So the 10 is very wide. The 5, you can see, if you look carefully, you can see the jock's got a huge hold on the 5. This horse was rank, now in between in a real uncomfortable claustrophobic spot. The 7's got an easy lead, and the 10 in a 5-horse field is 4 wide. Thank goodness I didn't bet this race because I would have been upset. You can see the 5 right there, by the way, Tapple Cider, just steadied out. I don't know if you saw that. We're going to go ahead and fast forward. Again, look where the 10 is. The 10 is still wide in a small field. The 5 is still in between horses here. As they progress, I thought La Victoria ran a monster race. In the 3 path, again, now it's not too bad, but in the 3 path, you can see Tapple Cider sort of struggling there in 4th. And by the way, this was a bit of an off track, as you guys can see. But Pop the Bubbly just had an easy lead basically on the front end. Meanwhile, La Victoria has been wider than wide every step of the way. Now La Victoria is battling, goes by Pop the Bubbly, and you can see the 5 Tapple Cider gave it up. But Tapple Cider is still trying, and I think she had a lot of trouble in that race. This was slow at the end here. They're not breaking any land speed records, but La Victoria tried very hard, and you can see the 5 and 7 right next to them after that. My take out of this race is that La Victoria ran huge. It was not a fast race, but she was wide every single step of the way. And Tapple Cider, the 5-horse in that race, had quite a bit of trouble, probably more trouble than it definitely looks on paper. So what does that mean in this race? That means I'm upgrading the 6, who is one of my top choices in this race, La Victoria. That was the gray that was wide in this race. I also like the 1, Akushla. I actually like the 1 and the 1A. I'm assuming the 1 might be in. This horse is a filly by Tiz Now, who obviously is a dirt horse, won the Breeders' Cup twice. So my guess is Akushla might be in the race. If Akushla is not in the race, her stablemate, the 1A, Callie Fitz. This is a horse by California Chrome out of its Seattle Fitz mare. I know, looks horrible on paper. Did not run very well in the slop last time at all, but it was a very, very, very fast pace. If the 1A is in the race and it's sloppy, that should give you confidence because obviously it's not the surface that was the issue. It was the very fast pace. So I'm interested in 1-6. The horse that was sort of ranked in between is 5, Pop the Bubbly. No, I'm sorry, it was not. Pop the Bubbly was on the lead. The horse that we were looking at that was in between horses was the 11. Sorry, Tapple Cider. The only reason I don't have the 11 on my ticket is because in her 2 previous races, she really didn't do much running either. So my thought is even though she got in trouble, she's just not very good. If you want to use Tapple Cider, I understand because of the trouble. But really, I'm most interested in the 6, La Victoria, because she was wide every single step of the way. There's a few first-time starters. I'm assuming the 4 would be scratched, again, because I think it's going to be on dirt. You'll see what the board looks like, but I'm most interested in this race in the 6, La Victoria, for the most part, based on that very wide trip last time and a work since. Again, you're going to have to see what the board looks like. It's very tricky to tell what's going to happen tomorrow based on the weather conditions. There's my caveman ticket. Wow, my cheapest caveman ticket I've given out on this show. $16. That's it. That's all you need. $16. Again, this can change a lot, folks. It depends on the surface, depends on who's scratched. There's a lot of things to take a look at. Jay likes the 12 a little bit in the last race. Again, we'd have to see if it's on turf or whatnot. It's very tricky to tell. It's part of the reason why I'm going a little bit short with today's show. I may or may not play tomorrow. I might just save my money for the weekend for Del Mar with Pacific Classic Day and the Pick Six. We'll have to see. But there's my caveman ticket. Again, I'm doing this 24 hours in advance. It's a complete guess, folks, because we don't know who the scratches are. So that's why I'm going pretty quick today. But whether you joined me live today or whether you're watching a replay, I appreciate you watching the HHH Racing Podcast Pick 5 at the Spa segment for the late Pick 5 on Thursday. Now, once again, as I wrap up the show, we have no show tomorrow on Thursday. There's no live show tomorrow. But there's a huge show. Again, mark your calendars, set it down, tell all your friends. Hopefully you can watch me live with Michelle Yu this Friday, 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go through the Pick Six at Del Mar for Saturday, Pacific Classic Day. Everyone loves Michelle. She can't wait to come on the show. I can't wait to have her. I really hope that you can join me on Friday. Last quick thing. My schedule's going to change quite a bit in my life starting next week. I'm going back to my full-time job as a high school teacher next week. So I will be doing less shows. I will give you an update on Friday exactly what's going to be happening going forward. I will still be doing plenty of shows. I'll still be writing for In the Money Media, of course, but I do have to, shorten my appearances, and I'm not going to be able to do quite as much because my schedule is going to be completely different. And of course, I have to take care of my full-time job as a high school math teacher, which starts on Monday. So I won't have as much time to prepare. I'm not going to put a show together without being prepared. So we'll still have plenty of shows. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm not going anywhere. There'll just be a decrease in the amount of shows on the HHH Racing Podcast starting next week. But we'll talk more details on Friday. Thanks for joining me. This has been episode 77 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I've been your host, Howard Kravitz. Join me Friday with Michelle Yu, 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. Take care, everyone. Good night.